My family has always farmed. My grandpa and his parents and his grandparents, his great-grandparents. And then my dad, of course, farmed with my grandpa. Growing up, I was on the farm my entire life, but I knew I wanted to go into news reporting. I wanted to be a journalist. I was very curious. I like to ask a lot of questions. So when I graduated college and got a job at WA&D in Decatur, and my brother passed away in a motorcycle accident in 2009, and he was my dad's right-hand man. And my dad asked if I would be interested in coming back to the farm and helping him because he needed some help. And it might work out well for me to spend more time with my daughter. So I said yes and came back to the farm and left my career at the news station and got to spend several years with my dad working side by side with him, which was great. I learned a lot in a short amount of time. I was never hands-on with the farm, even though I was around it. So I had a lot to learn. Probably still have a lot to learn. I feel like in farming, you're constantly learning, and if you're not, you're going to get left behind. So I worked with my dad until 2018. He was diagnosed with esophageal cancer, and it was only about 6 months before he passed away. So he worked that entire time, even though it's a terrible disease. He was in a lot of pain, but with farming, you have to get things done. So he made it through the planting season. We rode along with him a little bit. We tried to discuss plans for the future, even though, as hard as that was to think about at that time, because we hadn't really done that. So it was either going to be me or nothing. So I decided, I've got to try this. So I made phone calls to our farm managers and our landlords, and we don't own most of our grounds. So I was hoping that they would believe in me enough and be willing to work with me. And they all said yes. So we were able to keep everything my dad had been farming, and had a short time frame before we got into harvest. But my dad had really good relationships with all the businesses you work in, in ag, from John Deere to Nutrien. So those people were very willing to help me, and still are, with everything I need, because I had 100 questions. They came out and spent time with me going through the combine, and I'd never ran any of the big equipment. I've just drove a truck or did mowing and hauling grain and work like that. I hadn't actually been the operator in the big machinery. So that was 8 years ago now, and we're still going. And now I have my husband and my son. My husband's with me full time now. He left his job